Jorne, dit is vanoggend weer ons voorreg om met Dr. Michael Louis van die One SA Movement te gesels, wat vanoggend saam kuier om oor die uitslae van die onlangse verkiesing te gesels en hy deel ook sy opinie oor wat tans in die politiek aangaan. So good morning Michael and thank you so much for joining us again.
Hallo my friends, hallo Jorne, hallo liewe Elsa.
En dis net so jammer. Ja, dis net so jammer dat jy nou nie weer hier by ons in die ateljee is nie. Ons was baie bederf die vorige keer.
Ons was en ek het eintlik gesoek vir 'n verskoning, maar dit het nie gewerk nie.
Ag, jylle tog. Okay, maar miskien moet ons begin met jou opinie rakende, jy weet, wanneer 'n mens kyk na die uitslae van die verkiesing. Wat sal jy uitsonder?
Yeah, Elsa, and morning to all the viewers. Yeah, it was a watershed election, definitely one of the most profound, I think, in the history of our new democracy. As we all know, I think one of the standouts is the low voter turnouts of, less than 50%, eintlik 45% het eintlik gaan stem. And that is really very profound. Now, I know that many of the political parties are saying, giving excuses that it was COVID and it was lang naweek, you get all that good. But the bottom line is, I really believe it was a protest vote, that we're really now becoming a mature democracy where people are voting, hulle stem met hulle koppe en nie met hulle voete nie. They are now saying, if you don't provide services, if you don't give us what we want, we're going to protest, and it showed at the polls. So ek dink dit is die een groot uitstaan element for me. The second one is, secondly, that the ANC is under 50%. And I think in the history of liberation movements in Africa, once a majority liberation movement comes under 50%, it's very, very difficult to recover from that. And I think that's positive because I really believe you don't need to be big to be relevant. That is really my heart on this. And I think dit is vir my 'n baie goeie teken, and I'm really in my heart very full. Die jammerte is dat nog omtrent 5 tot 8 miljoen jong mense het nog nie gestem nie. And that's why I really believe we need to change the system. We're not attracting a new political dispensation where the young people feel excited to go and vote. That's our new generation, and I really believe that's why our South African democracy is written in a way to be creative, innovative, and entrepreneurial. And ons moet kyk na 'n nuwe stelsel om daai jong mense in te kry. They are new generation. We need new actors, we need new voices. And so I think those are the standouts for me. But in my heart, I'm very, very excited about the future of the country and the political landscape.
Michael, is Jorne, ek wil by jou hoor, dit is nou presies wat jy sê ook, jy weet, ek dink, as jy nog steeds papiere moet print, jy kan online polls doen, there's secure internet banking, everything is secure on the internet. I mean, it's so much easier waking up on that specific day, and for 24 hours you take out your phone and you just go click, submit. And there's no fraud, it can't be, it kan nie gesteel word nie. And that's how you're going to get the young people. Dink jy ons gaan ooit daar kom?
Yeah, as you and also know that we've got the new electoral draft bill that's sitting in Parliament, that I led the team of drafters. And one of the conditions is that we go to electronic elections. And it's not only because of attracting the young people, maar hierdie verkiesing veral, it was absolutely chaos. I think it was Gert that was busy mentioning how long, I also was saying how long they were standing in the queues. This election is definitely marred by, bad IEC, documentation, people listed in the wards and things, and we have to get to electronic elections. We have to be innovative, en is baie belangrik.
Ja, en jy weet wat Michael, ek meen daai mense waarna ek verwys het vir 'n uur gestaan voordat hulle uitgevind het waar hulle moet gaan stem.
Ja.
Ek het 2,5 ure in die ry gestaan voordat ek my kruisies kon trek.
Ja.
So dit is redelik lank, maar dit is miskien iets waaraan hulle wel aandag moet gee. But just tell us more about One South Africa movement and its role.
Elsa, I'm so excited about One South Africa movement because, as you know, and that came out from the interview last time, that I don't believe, that we need to be part of a new political party number 51. But we need to start training and equipping the political landscape of reforming the system. And that's why we sort of had the constitutional court case that we won, that independence can stand. But this has got nothing to do only about independence. It's about the opportunity for Parliament to totally revamp the electoral system to a constituency-based system and an open list system. En so laat ek dit net 'n bietjie meer verduidelik. One of the standouts of this election was the coming onto the playing field of independence and civic movements, because in the viewer's mind, they always think an independent is only one person. But an independent is an organization or a movement that's not a political movement. En kan jy glo dat hierdie verkiesing, nearly 726,000 people voted for civic movements and independence, making it the 5th largest constituency in the country. So wat beteken dit? Is that in a lot of the small towns, the Graafrenets, the Ubuntus, the Queenstowns, al die klein dorpe, they said, listen, we're going to rather vote for our civic movements. And one of the great stories is the Cederberg, where the Cederberg started the Cederberg First Residents Association, en Dr. Ruben Richards was 'n leier in die dorp, en hy's nou die burgemeester van die dorp. And I think if we get to a dispensation of a constituency-based system, where we don't only vote for political parties, but we divide the country into all the different constituencies, and the constituencies nominate their leaders and say, dit is ons leier. And we choose our Springbok team of 400 of the best parliamentarians to go and represent us and change this country. I think if that's where we're heading for, I really believe we're going to have a very exciting new political dispensation.
And, by keeping that in mind, I would also like to ask you, what does this result tell us about voter apathy and voter trends?
Well, it just shows you that people are not now only attracted to big political parties. That is really showing that they're rather going with the leaders of interest and the political parties of interest. Now, most people that know me, I'm not an anti-political party person, because it will always have a place in society. It's like you get corporate people and you get entrepreneurs. Daar's sekere mense wat nie in 'n koöperatiewe omgewing kan werk nie. So I always believe that there's a very important place, but I do believe that there's dynamic young leaders, and we can think of the Thuli Madanselas, the Landiwe Masibukos, the Musi Maimanis, that are strong individual, politically called statesmen that don't want to belong to a political party. Nou wat moet hulle doen? Moet hulle nou geforseer word om aan 'n politieke party te behoort? And so that's why the voters have started moving to vote for their leaders of their choice in their constituencies. And that's why there's 144 municipalities that had residents' organizations, and there's 44 hung councils, the most ever, which means that these residents' organizations pushed the ANC under the 50% so that they can't form governments.
Wel, kan jy nou dink as daai 3 individue besluit het om hulle eie party te vorm, dit sou ook wonderlik gewees het. Maar ons gaan nou voortgaan met hierdie gesprek. Bly gerus ingeskakel daarvoor. Ons gaan voort met vanoggend se groot ontbyt en ook die gesprek met Dr. Michael Louis van die One South Africa Movement, wat vanoggend saam kuier om oor die uitslae van die onlangse verkiesing te gesels, en hy deel ook sy opinie oor wat tans in die politiek uitgaan of aangaan liewer. Weer eens welkom Michael, en ek wil graag begin deur te vra, wat is jou mening na aanleiding van iets soos koalisieregerings?
Ja, ek dink hierdie verkiesing is really going to just show about the importance of coalition governments, and I'm just thinking about that all of us as political observers are definitely going to look at what the big political parties are going to do. They're verbalizing that they're going to make deals in the interest of the people, Ek meen dit is so belangrik that the focus must be what is the interest of the people. And I see Herman Mashaba says he's going to forget what happened with the DA and all the history of that. And I think that's the right approach. You have to put your political affiliations aside and think, what's the benefit going to be for the people and to create a stable government? So ek is definitief 'n voorstander van koalisieregerings. I think it's the order of the day. I think it's the way our country's moving to that. And I love checks and balances. I think, a big political party that's going to govern a municipality, there's not as much checks and balances. And I think daai checks and balances is 'n baie belangrike faktor.
Wat is die gevaarligte, die rooi ligte van koalisies?
The big red light is that the small parties over-position themselves in their negotiations. Nou kom ek gee jou net 'n voorbeeld. Die EFF het gesê, we'll go into coalition with you on condition that you give us one whole municipality to govern. Nou, ek meen, jy kan dit nie doen as jy net 10% gekry het nie. I mean, how can that be in the interest of the people, So I think that one of the big dangers are the over-exaggeration of your positioning, but yet they can play a very big neutral role as well, So I think the big light is don't overplay your hand when you do coalition governments, but I'm definitely a supporter of it.
Just tell us more about electoral reform and the process from here and next steps. Want ek weet jy het ook nou verwys na die feit dat die jonger generasies baie belangrik is of 'n belangrike rol vertolk, maar ek wil hê mens moet miskien ook verwys na die balans tussen iets soos jonger generasies en iets soos ervaring of ondervinding.
Yeah, I think the whole thing about that is we need to create, I think politics needs to be like a business. If a business is not working, you need to affect change. You need to be entrepreneurial, innovative, nuwe strukture, nuwe sisteme. En dit is wat ons probeer doen with the new electoral reform bill that's in Parliament at the moment. And we really need to get the South African public involved in that participation. Because like I said previously, it all goes, I'm definitely a supporter of a constituency-based system, but also an open party list system. Nou laat ek net dit verduidelik. At the moment, when we go to national and provincial elections, al wat gebeur is, you get the ANC, the DA, die Vryheidsfront, hulle sit net hulle wapens daar, but you don't know who the people are behind those logos. An open party list system is to say, these are our leaders and this is who our parliamentarians are that you're going to vote for on the public sphere. Want almal sê, en dit is waar, they publish it in the government gazette, maar waar gaan jy mense kry wat altyd in die staatskoerant gaan kyk, wie is die genomineerde mense? But I sat in numerous presentations to Parliament where the young people were involved and they said, no more can you just put up a flag and a logo and we're going to vote for you. Tell us who our leaders are. Tell us their experience. Tell us what the effective change is, and then we'll go to the polls and vote. So I think that's the whole issue of electoral reform. And the Constitutional Court gave Parliament 2 years to change the electoral system that will be available, which will be imminent for 2024. En dit verstryk 6 Junie volgende jaar. So ons het 6 maande om hierdie nuwe verkiesingswet te verander. So I'm going to spend a lot of my time and focus just in mobilizing the country to really be innovative and creative. I've got no preconceived ideas. I'm wanting the public to say what will get our imagination and our entrepreneurial skills to really just get a magnificent platform to get to set a future for the young generation.
And how can viewers get involved if they believe they are called to statesmanship?
Yeah, well, I mean, the big thing is that, and ek het nou gekyk, jy lyk so goed. I really believe that God is maybe training you to become a statesman. I'm not even talking about Elsa, maar ek bedoel, want daai baadjie lyk nou so goed vir jou, jy's soos 'n parliamentariër. You did look like a parliamentarian to me. But we're going to start educating. You need to start getting involved in local government spheres, like get trained. OSA's got training programs in statesmanship, and political sciences of how is our political dispensation looking like? What's our three-party system? Jy moet begin die wette leer, but also get involved in your community, build your profile, and get involved in community stuff. Jy gaan nie net eendag besluit, God has called you to statesmanship nie, and then you want to go put up your hand to stand. You need to now start profiling yourself in getting involved in your ratepayers association, your school boards, in the environment, youth programs. En ek sal vreeslik graag wil hê mense moet na die OUSA website toe gaan om te gaan kyk na die programme wat ons aanbied to train you and equip you to statesmanship and also our School of Government. I think people need to be trained, by the way. We're wanting to professionalize and depoliticize politics as much as possible.
Absolutely.
And I think that's very important.
Wel, as ek reg kan onthou, skuld ek jou nog 'n e-pos, maar baie dankie vir die insig wat jy vanoggend met ons gedeel het. En dit was dan Dr. Michael Louis van die One SA Movement.